Okay, we're going to be looking at familiar formulas today. So let's just get to it. We're going to be looking at area of a square and a rectangle. So the area of a square is side times side. That should be something that you learned last year, and hopefully this is just kind of a little reminder of that. And then area of a rectangle is length times width. So here you have your length, here you have your width. Perimeters of a square and rectangle. Remember, perimeter is just all the way around the outside of it. So if you were to walk all the way around the outside. So because all the sides are the same in a square, it's just side plus side plus side plus side, or 4 times side. Perimeter of a rectangle, length and width. So you're just walking all the way around that. Simplified, 2 times length plus 2 times width. So let's just get right to doing some of them. Area of a square, side squared. So the side is 6, so 6 squared. So the area of this particular square is 36 meters squared. Please, please, please do not forget to label your areas. Here again we have 12 squared. You can use your calculator. So 144 inches squared. Here we're going to find the length of the square. So we're going to work backwards, because I'm looking for this side length. So I know that I took some side number and squared it, and I got 144. So I need to take the square root of both sides, because remember, a square root undoes a square. They're going to cancel each other out on this side. So the side length is going to be the square root of 144. Well, we just happen to do this one up here. So I know that my side length is 12. You can use your calculator for these. So my side squared on this one is going to give me 100. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So my side length is going to be the square root of 100. So what times itself gives me 100? And that answer is 10. Again, use your calculator if you want to. I'm going through these kind of quickly because these should be kind of a reminder. So area of this rectangle, length times width. So 8 times 5, so 40 meters squared. Again, please label your areas. Area of this rectangle, 12 times 15. So you should get 180 inches squared. This one we're going to work backwards a little bit, because we know one side length and we know the area. And we know the area, the area is 30. And I got that, I don't know why this is a 9, it should be a 6, by multiplying 6 times some number. Well, then I know that number is 5, because 6 times 5 is 30. And so this side length is a 5. So if I'm looking for perimeter, if this is a 5, so is this. If this is a 6, so is this. So 12 plus 10 is 22 meters. We're not going to square it because it is just perimeter. So here we have the 24, and I got that by taking 4 and multiplying it by some number. Well, I know that number happens to be a 6. So if this side's 6, so is this, 4 and 4. So 10 plus 10, so my perimeter is 20 centimeters. Again, does not have to be labeled because it's perimeter. Here might be the new one, the distance formula. So the distance traveled is equal to the rate of speed and the time traveled. So distance is equal to rate times time, or distance is equal to rate times time. This is the condensed version that we're going to use. And this is a pretty common formula you're going to see in all your algebra life from now forward. So let's just kind of look at it a couple of different ways. I've tried to color coordinate everything so that it's a little easier to see what gets plugged in where. So in this first instance, I am looking for distance, and I know my rate is 50, and I know my time is 5. So the distance that I travel, if I'm going 50 miles an hour for 5 hours, is going to be 250 miles. So now let's just come down here. This one is a little different. I know the distance. And you can use your calculator on these. I know my rate. I do not know my time. So basically, what times 65 gives me 750? So I'm going to take 750 and divide it by 65. So I'm going to divide that out of both sides because I want to know what that t is. And t is going to give me a decimal. We're just going to round it off. So 11.5 hours, because this is hours. Again, I know my distance. My distance is 1,225 feet. I don't know my rate, but I know my time is 30. So what times 30 gives me 225? So I have to divide that out. And my rate, and we're just going to round off here, my rate is 40.8 feet per hour. You see, it's feet per hour. So here we're going to go to Grandma's house, and we're going to use this formula, distance equals rate times time. I know my distance that I want to go. It's 362 miles. I know my time, but I don't know my rate. So I don't know my rate, but I know my time is 6.5 hours. So I'm going to use my calculator, and I'm going to find out what times 6.5 gives me 332. So I'm going to be dividing that out, and I should get my rate. We're just going to round to 56 miles per hour. Here we're looking for hours. We know distance, and we know speed. So we know our distance. We're still going to Grandma's house. But now we know we're traveling 70 miles an hour, and we want to know how long that's going to take us, because maybe we need to get there a little faster because Grandma's got the turkey in the oven and we got to get there. So I'm going to divide that out, 362 divided by 70, and I'm going to get 5.2 hours. It's a little faster. We want to get there to eat that turkey. And now we want to know how many miles have we gone in 3 hours if we're driving 62 miles an hour. So now we want to know our distance. We know our rate is 62, and we know our time is 3. Using your calculator, just 62 times 3, you have traveled 186 miles.